Leukocytes are also known as white blood cells, and white blood cells are cells that are involved in the immune response. So these cells can identify and attack foreign invaders, so things like bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi, etc. So these are things that can get into your body and make you sick, but the white blood cells can attack them in order to try to bring you back to being healthy. Generally, they are larger, at least a little bit larger than red blood cells. There aren't as many of them, and they typically have a very distinct nucleus. So all of these that have the purple splotches here, and this one's got one big one here, these are the white blood cells. One other main difference between red blood cells and white blood cells is that white blood cells can actually squeeze out of the blood vessels in order to go into the fluid around tissues so that it can attack invaders, not just in the blood, but also invaders in the extracellular fluids in all the tissues in your body. There are 5 different types of white blood cells, and the main difference between the types is what they look like, but more importantly, what they respond to. So the different types of white blood cells include neutrophils, and we can see that they look a little different under a microscope here. So these are our neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes, and monocytes. And we'll talk about some of these in more detail when we get to the immune system. But just to kind of give you an introduction, things like basophils can release histamine, which is an anti-inflammatory chemical. Eosinophils are known for attacking parasites. So when I used to work in a zoo and an aquarium, and if we got an animal into our animal rehab facility, they would do blood work, and if there was a high eosinophil count, we knew that that animal probably had parasites, and we could give it medication to help it kill off those parasites. Lymphocytes are going to be involved in kind of more directed attacks on bacteria and viruses, and neutrophils attack bacteria, and monocytes are able to kind of engulf pathogens and eat them and break them down. Now, you may have heard of the term leukemia before, and so you can see that the prefix is very similar to leukocytes. So leukemia is a type of cancer that involves the overproduction of leukocytes. So just like all other or most other things in our body, you need a certain amount of white blood cells, but if you have too many or not enough, it can cause problems. And in this case, you end up with too many leukocytes. It makes the blood thicker, and oftentimes the leukocytes don't even work properly. So you don't even get this added benefit of having more of an immune response. It's instead you're making lots of leukocytes, but they're not functioning properly, and so they really just cause problems.